Howdy friends, it's February 27th. You know what that means? That means 20 years ago today, the beast hit the shelves. Unless you've been living under a rock on a deserted island in the middle of a volcano, you've probably heard of Pokemon, if not played a game or two. In fact, if you were born in the early 90s and you haven't touched one of these, what were you doing? Just playing in the dirt? Even if you have played a game or two, you probably didn't know that there are over 80 games now, including Japanese exclusives. I figured, why not compile a top 10 and slap it on the internet? Keep in mind, this is my opinion, blah blah blah, come at me. When the DS first came out, Game Freak must have had an aneurysm, because it seems they didn't quite know how to handle it. They shipped out a couple odd things in the DS's first few years, and while not all of it was complete fucking garbage, one of the games really caught my attention. Although a little unorthodox, Pokemon Ranger was really good, sacrificing the whole catch-em-all motif and focusing more on drawing circles really fast, a whole bunch of times. They should have called it Pokey Circles. The plot of Pokey Circles is that you're a Pokemon Ranger, and you've got to stop the usual evil, the Go-Rock Squad, using Pokemon. However, instead of using the usual means, they've opted to a more, let's call it unique, method of circling them repeatedly, with Beyblades. Until of course you use them once, then you let them go, cause, you know, morals or whatever. The thing that really drew me to this game was the difficulty. You see, I look at most Pokemon games as casual games. Games you can play with one hand. Games you can just have on your lap while you're watching TV. Games you can zone out while playing and nothing has changed when you come back to. This one's different. This one was legitimately hard. This one made me sweat. This one permanently damaged the touchscreen on my DS Lite. When you have to circle a dinosaur 13 times in under a second, you tend to get a little into it. They made 2 more Pokey Circles since then, but they didn't make the list because, well, they suck. Oh look, we have a popular game on our hands. What are we to do? Of course, let's make a card game based on it. That'll make money. Oh my, what a dilemma. Now we have a bomb-ass game and a rocking card game, both making us buttloads of Whiskash. But wait, I got a crazy idea. Now, hear me out here, guys. Let's take this card game that we based on a game. You know that one? And make a game about it. Genius. And lo and behold, gold. Pure gold. It's just a game about playing Pokemon cards. That's it. But holy shit is it fun. You take the role of a kid, probably around 10 years old, on a quest to inherit the legendary cards by the means of traveling across the, I don't know how big this landmass is, so I'm unsure what to call it, and defeat every gym with differing card types and collectible medals, and then go on to defeat what is essentially the Elite Four. It's basically a core game, except with cards instead of actual monsters. And there's no roots or bulk wrap. There's still a rival though. Too bad you can't name him. Fucking Ronald. He'll always be ass flaps to me. The card game plays exactly how the official rules go. No sacred cards ass shit. Actually, this game taught me how to play the actual game when I was a kid. The screen is laid out nice enough, all the necessary information is there, all the pictures are actually pretty damn accurate. For a Game Boy game, it's very well put together. But I think my favorite part of the whole damn thing has to be the music. Sweet damn, this game has some of the best music in the series. I want this soundtrack. Just casually playing the game when, oh, gotta pee, better pause it, and I can't leave this. This is magic. Fuck yeah, Pokemon Stadium. In case you don't know, Pokemon Stadium was essentially a 3D Pokemon battle simulator. You picked 6 Pokemon out of the 149 offered, Mewtwo's for noobs anyways. Your friend does the same, and you go at it. Simple as that. And if you're sick of the shitty rental Pokemon, you can slap in the accompanying transfer pack in your game of choice and use the team that you've been raising on your own. And if you don't have any friends, why not? Go out there, introduce yourself. Maybe bathe first. But in the meantime, Pokemon Stadium is chock full of one-player mayhem. You can fight your way through the entire Pokemon League from Brock to Giovanni and even the Elite Four. And if you're sick at looking at those jerks, there are 4 tournament rulings that you can choose from. From giant, powerful level 100 Pokemon, down to chubby chibi level 5s, to somewhere in between. The world's your cloister! Pokemon Stadium was the perfect next step for where Pokemon was at the time. Children around the globe were already playing the handhelds, why not make them 3D? It was gorgeous. They answered the prayers that we hadn't even made yet, and you could store Pokemon from your handheld to boxes on Pokemon Stadium, or even play your handheld on the big screen using the transfer pack at up to triple speed! Oh, and did I mention the minigames? Just as you start getting sick of the strategy and slow-paced battles, and you're looking for something a little more lighthearted, boom, minigames, right there. In fact, me and my buds play the minigames more than we actually battle. This shit's awesome. Remember those early DS games I was talking about? Well, Pokey Circles wasn't the only game that hooked my heart fish. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team is, to this date, one of my favorite games of all time. I literally cried at the end and proceeded to beat it again before the commercial for this game even stopped airing. The story just got to me, you know? I really don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's a real emotional ride. That and the idea of Pokemon not just being mindless random encounters, but different characters with personalities and dreams. I would have put this higher on my list, but emotional attachment is only a fraction of the qualities of a good game. It's a dungeon crawler where your role is as a Pokemon chosen for you via personality test. I totally cheated. In a human-less world. I thought this was the most amazing thing in the world. Whoever played a Pokemon trainer while they were playing pretend with their friends? No one, that's who. I was running around flapping my wings screaming Aerodactyl. Many people rip on this game due to how different it is. But if all the games were the same, then where would the forget I said anything. What kind of a list would this be if it had no core games in it? The 6th spot on my list goes to a common favorite. Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. I figure the differences are so small that I'll just jam them all in one category. The biggest draw to this game is obviously the region. Other than being 75% water, the terrain is really diverse and interesting. There are mountains, rainforests, caves, deserts, a volcano, an island made out of wood. There's even explorable underwater areas. It's goddamn beautiful. The new roster of Pokemon was pretty good too. Really dragon heavy, but that was overdue. The new duo of evil teams was pretty unique in this game as well. Team Magma wanted more land and Team Aqua wanted more water. Both of which obviously know nothing, because either goal would probably result in the destruction of all life on Earth. Not only these games, but this whole generation of Pokemon had a big influence on myself. Emerald was the first game I ever pre-ordered, and I have a lot of fond memories with these games. Pokemon Ruby was actually the first Pokemon game that I 100%ed, Pokedex and all. I was a little late to the GameCube party, buying mine only a few months before the Wii came out, but it was totally worth it. It came with Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and a bitchin' sweet Shadow Lugia on the GameCube itself. It goes without saying that I played the hell out of that console and XD. That thing was my best friend for like 2 years. For the time, the game was visually really nice, and the music is still some of my favorite game music ever. The environments are amazing and the attack visuals are just freaking cool. I'd say it's one of the most sensory-pleasing games on the GameCube. And due to you being able to walk using the C-Stick, it's another one-handed game. Score! I always wanted a core Pokemon game on a console, and other than the linear storyline and virtually no free roaming, it's the closest thing we have to date. I may have ruined it for myself by playing Gale of Darkness first, but Colosseum just didn't do it for me. The attacks were lame, the Shadow Pokemon looked like they were breathing black glitter as opposed to the ominous black auras in XD. It felt more like a beta for Gale of Darkness. And that damn broad. Bad idea, bro. Also, Mirror B. I forgot to write anything about him in the script. He deserves it. I'm sure you've all heard the origin story of this game before. A boring-ass photography game that was, well, boring. So I slapped Pokemon on it just to sell the damn thing. And boom bam, art. Who would have guessed? It's easily one of the most popular Pokemon games, or at least in the spin-offs. Everyone loves this thing. And being their first transition from the Game Boy to a home console was a big deal. This blew my friggin' mind. They even had stations in Blockbuster where you could bring in your game and print off stickers of the pictures you took in the actual game. And there's nothing like traveling around in a vehicle that moves slower than a damp sponge on level ground, throwing produce at wild animals. It doesn't sound like much, but there's a certain appeal to seeing Pokemon in their natural environments, you know? Seeing them live and react to each other and anything you might chuck their way. It's a short game, mind you. It'll take you 2 to 3 hours tops, even to 100% it. If you've never tried this thing, I recommend it. Strongly. Go play it, it's on Virtual Console. Ever wonder how an Electabuzz reacts to being bombed? Death. Zubat? Oh, I guess we'll never know. Charmeleon. I don't think that's how that works. Known as Pokemon plus Nobunaga's Ambition in Japan, Pokemon Conquest is a crossover between Pokemon and the turn-based strategy game Nobunaga's Ambition. Obviously more popular in Japan, as I've never heard of it, but that being said, I'm glad it happened. When I picked this game up, I couldn't put it down. All the characters were unique and well designed. The idea of taking others' kingdoms was awesome. It was 9 AM the next morning before I put the damn thing down. It's not a short game either. Even after you beat it, there's still so many short stories that open up. They take a lot of the same things you'd expect out of a Pokemon game, like acquiring new Pokemon, leveling them up, and evolving them, but they change them just enough that it's a new experience. But not so much that it feels too alien and discouraging. They did a good job on this game, but I have a small complaint. This game takes place in feudal Japan, right? Mewtwo was created in a high-tech lab, and Girder carries an I-beam around with him. These things just don't go together. Number 2 on my list isn't a shocker. In fact, it was number 1 on my list until I really sat down and thought about it. My second favorite Pokemon game is Pokemon Red version. Now before you say anything about nostalgia goggles, I'd like to know that this wasn't my first game. Although it's easily my most played game. Being the first game in a series this successful, you can't help but respect it, even if you don't like it. I've heard a lot of people dislike these games due to the bugs, but that's one of my favorite parts of it. And that immovable truck, you know, the one that doesn't do anything, that was like the biggest friggin' shit disturber. That and Missing No put this game on the map of games. A game map? I'd like to say something about the Pokemon or the characters, but it's hard not to be biased about it. Anything that could be said about this gen has been. The Pokemon are great, even the stupid ones. That being said, I don't hate the new stupid ones either. And then all of a sudden, bam! Number 1. Guess what it is? Guess! If it's not red or blue, what could it be? Dash? Troze? Oh, of course, it must be Intellectual Training Drill Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Letter and Number Intelligence game. Nah, don't be an absolute doof. My favorite Pokemon game is Gold version, but Silver and Crystal are good too. Not only is it the game that brought color to the series, the Pokemon were awesome, the starters were awesome, the characters were awesome, the professor was bearable. Even the rival, who was the biggest dick in the history of dicks, was still pretty cool. And in the end, he learned what he was doing wrong, so it's all good. And once you're done this far-fetched chasing beast of a game, or so you thought, guess what? You're not done. You now get to travel to the mysterious land of Kanto. That's right, it's like 2 games in 1. You even get to go fight all the gym leaders from the last game. And this one takes place 2 years later, so there's some things different. Cinnabar Island's had some redecorating since your last visit. And once that's all done, you're still not done. To get the real ending, you've now got to traverse the mysterious Mount Silver that's been blocked off until now. And at the very top we find our favorite little mountain man, Red. The guy who you played as in Red version. That's right, you fight yourself, and after what seems like the longest conversation. Quite the chatterbox. And the hardest battle yet. Congratulations, you've done it. You've just beaten debatably the best Pokemon game of all time, and probably pushed a 13-year-old off a cliff. This game also introduced so many new components to the game. Genders, shinies, 2 new types, eggs, baby Pokemon, new evolutions to old Pokemon, a day and night cycle, infrared, they leveled out the type advantages, and the big one, breeding. Competitive play would be nowhere near where it is today without Pokemon breeding. What did Diamond and Pearl give us? Poffins? Anyways, I'm off to get that new 3DS. Happy birthday, Pokemon. Have a good one.